Hello everybody and welcome in to week 31 deck choices for South Park Phone Destroyer. We're going to get into it. I think we missed last week's deck choices and this one's coming a little late, but there's also an announcement that we're going to couple in with this. Cheesy Poofs are coming back. We're going to have Cheesy Poofs, I think, starting on the 5th, and along with that, all of the events that are attached with this Cheesy Poof, I believe 4 of them will be legendary events. So it'll be really important in the next coming weeks to play as much as you can, finish all the events, and you're going to get a lot of value from playing these events. Now, we're going to take a look at the deck. This choices will not be very different from the last time we discussed this. I will actually put both videos from the last time we talked about this deck and from the video that'll have the games for this deck, and you can use that as a little bit of a primer to learn how to play the deck, but we'll describe it a little bit here. But we're going to go ahead and start, and a few of these are going to be very straightforward, but a couple of them we'll have to kind of describe our choice a little bit here. Now we have DSR versus 6-element Randy, and actually this is one of the more interesting choices in the deck. A lot of the other ones are going to be really straightforward, but we're going to actually come back to this one later because all the other ones are a little bit easier to choose. First off, we have Nathan versus Kevin. I think last time this was chosen, Kevin was definitely not a choice because of level possibilities, so Nathan was what was picked, but I still think that Nathan is the choice here. There isn't a whole lot that can deal with him. He can, if you put him behind tanks and keep him alive, he can be very impactful. He can impact a cow push pretty well. He can kill other range cards from a distance, so he's got a lot of value. And Kevin, although you can pair it with Awesemo, potentially Freeze Ray, only having 2 places where you can get that freeze isn't going to be good enough to really get value from him. If maybe Sizzler was a choice, it'd be a little bit easier to pick him. But as of right now, it's going to be Nathan for the choice. Awesemo versus Slave, you're probably going to want to go Awesemo just because Slave can be so detrimental in a push, like in a game like this, because 1, DSR might just take all his value away from the heal, and 2, something like BHK, if you put your tank versus Slave next to your new kid and then put BHK behind it, you could get a push really, really stacked with that and keep it on your side and force them to play into you the whole time. And it could just be very dangerous. You couple that with like a Nathan, couple that with Cupid, and you can just get a couple of range cards that are impossible to deal with. So I really like the Awesemo this week. This freeze can be impactful, can help out, and he's very slow, so he's a good lead card as well. Regen versus Hyperdrive. Although I really like the Hyperdrive, the Regen gives you the ability to kind of make up the damage that maybe DSR does. If the enemy uses DSR and you immediately purify and then use Regen, you're probably going to win that push if it was already a pretty big push. If you have that kind of energy, that's like a sure-in way to, impact the DSR, which is kind of what makes DSR maybe not the right pick, because that 6-element Randy is going to be another big body to deal with. There's not a whole lot of stuff to deal with those bodies, so even if DSR gets value, if you play well, the enemy shouldn't really get good DSR value. So it's really an interesting card. I like the DSR because it can just give you a lot of value because there's a lot of cards that it can impact, but that 6-element Randy, those robots, those can be impactful too. So I think that choice is just up to your team. Whoever you pick for this one, I think that's just kind of up to your team. I think both can do well, but versus a better player, I think 6-element Randy is going to net you more value because DSR, against a good player, you're going to just only hit Awesemo, or you're going to only hit Maxi, you're going to only hit 6-element. You're not going to be able to get a lot of value. Or maybe you might even be forced to play it versus cows, which isn't really a good thing. But it's an interesting card. I think you'll probably see more DSRs than not, though. But I think if you can have a team with a bunch of level 5 6-element Randys, playing him in the corner, getting a bunch of robots, that can be really impactful, especially when New Kid Blast doesn't come anywhere near killing the robots. So So I like the regen. Obviously, hyperdrive could be very impactful too, but with freezes available and stuff like that, the hyperdrive can be potentially dangerous. So I like the regen to be just a little bit easier to use. I think that Hermes is the choice here. Cyborg, the only reason that you would run Purify is really to counter the Cyborg, and then also keep the Purify in case maybe a push gets really BHK boosted, or maybe a push gets... maybe you could heal the DSR and use something there. Maybe if you have Maxi plus somebody else and that gets DSR'd, you could heal that and Maxi can heal them back up. So it can be pretty interesting. So I like that idea of the Purify. Here, I'm liking the Cupid, although I will say Dark Mage, a decent counter to cows, really cuts the amount of damage that they can do and then does AoE damage to them on top of that. When you couple that with a potential BHK, I actually really like the Dark Mage. The original deck choice for this, maybe, not sure on the timing, maybe Dark Mage wasn't as good as he is now. He got buffed a little bit. But I think you can get a lot of value from that ability of his on offense or defense. But I do like the Cupid. Cupid's got, quick attack. He's kind of interesting to deal with. The flying unit makes him a little harder to deal with. So I think maybe the Cupid's the choice, just to maybe stay away from some of the stuff that could impact him. So that one's a toss-up as well. I think your team can kind of decide on that. I think the Dark Mage is the better overall play, but Cupid can be very dangerous. So I wouldn't dislike it if I had Cupid either. Pope versus BHK. There's nothing to kill BHK, and then Pope is going to be kind of dangerous with all the 3 costs that are in here. So BHK is going to be your choice. Your time to play BHK would be when you're defending on your side, and it's going to be there for a while, and then get everything stacked up and then counter push. That's the goal there. Maxi's the choice. Mimsy can be dangerous, but it's just too easy to deal with him, unfortunately, especially with something like DSR, freezes. There's quite a few high damage assassins as well with Scout and Hermes, so you're not going to be able to do much with Mimsy. So Maxi's going to be your choice. Maxi kind of counters the DSR a bit, but just having a lot of value for that health on defense can be good. Then we have the cows. Last time this deck was chosen, most people went with Terrence and Phillip. I think that was just simply because cows wasn't going to be very leveled. Now cows is going to be level 5 or 6 for pretty much everybody that has been playing. So I would say cows are the choice. Cows are always the Team Wars choice nowadays, unless there's just like really, really, really easy counters for it. And there really isn't any easy counters for cows when your new kid is that low level. So cows are going to be inevitable, which is going to make Maxi, even better, even better, because you can heal that damage and prevent them from, getting the bar after they tried it once. Obviously, the Shield Maiden is going to be the choice on this end, which Dr. Token is just not good enough. But obviously, the cows are going to be picked. Purify is going to be probably picked. I didn't hate the Freeze Ray. Freeze Ray plus cows can really guarantee bars, but the Purify is going to be important. Every once in a while, somebody will play a Cyborg that could really fuck you up, and playing Purify really makes that worthless for them. So that enough, the 2 costs, the cycle potential is just a good choice. And then Scout versus Paladin. Paladin's an alright card, but Scout just has so much DPS available. And, if you put him tank versus another tank, that's going to really impact you. You're going to get an extra energy or so, which can be the difference between a game sometimes. And if you couple that with Hyperdrive, potentially really strong. Also, Scout works out really well if he gets regen, because New Kid can't deal with him. None of the range cards can deal with him before he gets healed back, so that can be pretty impactful. I really like the combo there. It's going to be an interesting week. There's nothing that's really like a home run hit, because even if you play cows, there's a lot of high damage value that can counter really easily if you use Shield Maiden plus BHK plus 1 assassin or something like that against the cows. You're going to be in really good shape for that counter push, because there's no worry about a fireball or poison or anything like that. So you can really stack these counter pushes which is going to be the majority of this week. If you watch my video, like I said, it's going to be posted below. There'll be tags in the corner. And if you watch the games, you'll really see that the biggest thing for this week is to make sure the fight happens on your side so that you can get your assassins on their tanks. You can decide where your units go. You can have better positioning. You can impact the game more than, having them play or then playing into your push. So this week is all about that initial defense and then counter pushing, and then knowing when to support that push and when to let it die and continue another counter push. So that's kind of the push pull of this game that you learn over time, but watching videos of somebody who's been doing it for a long time is a great way to learn without having to go through the trials and errors. So give the video a watch, be prepared for this next week, and hopefully your team picked a good deck for you. And if it didn't, make sure you hit me up and talk about joining one of the teams in the Pirate Coalition. We always pick good decks, and we always level them up very well, very smart, very, very efficiently. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. We will be putting out a Team Wars video for this week. I'm a little behind this week because of some stuff going on at work, but we're going to get stuff out. We're making a video that's actually more edited, that instead of having 12 games, it's only going to have 3 or 4. They're going to be the better games. It's going to be more of a production. And then in the Potatoes and Plays retrospective, we're going to add all of the videos so that we can see all of them at some point, so we're not wasting those videos. So this is going to be really good. We are having a new Potatoes and Plays coming out within the next week or so. That's going to have a $20 gift card attached to it. In some sort of giveaway. You watch the video, there'll be something in there, and you have to let us know what it'll be a clue kind of mystery thing, and you have to try to find which new kid is the answer to the puzzle, basically. So we will see you on that one, and then also tomorrow probably we'll get that Team Wars video up. Otherwise, keep track of the Discord, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, everything. I appreciate the follows. Everything is in the description, and you guys rock. I appreciate you watching, and if you're watching, make sure you drop in the comments what your team picked, what you're excited to see, and don't forget Cheesy Poofs. We're going to have lots of legendary events. There's going to be 2 options to buy, probably Sparky and Malcolmist, if I'm right, and it's just going to be a lot of value. So get your playtime in this week, clear your schedule, and be ready for it. We're going to get to streaming right now, actually, so we'll see you guys on the flip side. Peace out. Bye-bye.